Hello and welcome everyone, Wizuko here. Believe it or not, it's been 1 year since Animal Crossing New Horizons first released worldwide. And what a year it has been, right? Well, let's not think about it too much though. I wanted to look back on what kept me sane during 2020, Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I invite you on a look back on our past year of Animal Crossing. So get comfortable and get yourself some fruits because this is Animal Crossing New Horizons 1 year later. Before the game released, I think every fan has his own story to tell. For some, it was their first Animal Crossing game, and they bought it either out of curiosity or recommendations. Some only played it because of the situation the world was in, but some loved the older games so much that they couldn't wait for this game to come. I started playing in 2004 with Animal Crossing for the Nintendo GameCube, the first Animal Crossing game that released in Europe, and it held a very special place in my heart ever since for so many reasons. I could make a video of that alone. With such great love, however, expectations only rise. And after the enormous confusion caused by Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival, I couldn't think of a clear direction the Animal Crossing franchise was heading to. And for the longest time, all we had were some spin-offs and cameos. And then there was the long wait. The last main game of the Animal Crossing series was New Leaf, which released in 2013, and later got an DLC called Welcome Amiibo, released for free in 2016. So basically, we had pretty much 7 years with no new main game. And I started to wonder. But then the teaser dropped at the end of the Nintendo Direct on September 13th, 2018. Announcing Animal Crossing in late 2019, and I felt the hype right away. Never did I hype a game that much ever before. Just seeing Tom Nook in this teaser made me feel over 10 years younger, and when it got delayed, my logic side would understand and be patient, but my emotional side was all over the place. In the end, Animal Crossing New Horizons would release on March 20th, 2020, and it even overshadowed every other game of the year. And I'm so glad that Animal Crossing didn't disappoint. More of that later. On day one, the game was just gorgeous. That was how Animal Crossing hit me, like a warm, comforting, reassuring hug. And I don't want to go into detail whether or not the whole lockdown situation did emphasize the hype, but I think it's important to keep the all-around situation in mind when you look at its success and the great number of content made on the game. And why not? The older games felt more like secret treasures, but the new game felt like a widespread international viral phenomenon. So let's get ourselves a little overview. So we started on March 20th. Can you still remember how wild your island used to look? All the greens of the newly awoken spring would greet us all around our new home. And our island seemed so vast and wild with all the weed and wildly growing trees around the island. And we had so many questions that in old Animal Crossing fashion were not just answered. You just had to try and see. Like where to put your tent and could you change that later? How would you get new residents? And when can you have a look on the other side of the river to explore beyond? The step-for-step exploration made it so immersive and exciting to come back every day and get new DIYs, figure out how to expand and wait for Mabel to visit. It was adventurous. And in April, we got ourselves our first update. And not only that, also the cherry blossom season started, and I was at awe. The flower petals dancing through the air, and pretty colors everywhere. Not to mention the new furniture. I loved everything about it, especially since I had paid off my first few loans, so I could really put those new DIYs to good use inside my house. But there was a catch. Overlapping with the cherry blossom season, there was also the Bunny Day event, which was fun at first, but soon would really annoy me. These colorful eggs were everywhere. And I mean every fucking where. While it was fun at first, you soon had more eggs than you could ever possibly need. And those cherry blossom DIYs, they were super rare, thanks to the high spawn rate of those flying eggs. Why were they following me everywhere anyway? Tell me, Zipper T. Look at him, staring into the abyss.
Look at him. He knows something.
But oh my, the cherry blossom was so short-lived, much like in real life, the beautiful petals would fade away on April 10th after only 10 days, while Bunny Day had its conclusion on April 12th with an Easter-inspired festival. For all those peeps that knew the older games, it was nothing new, but to have the event being added as updates made them feel very different. It felt like no one could spoil it for you and gave Nintendo the chance to really surprise us, slow us down for our own good. And it was due to the game's nature and pace that made it just perfect as a side game. You can easily consume all the new content of the day in a few hours, then continue your day with whatever you had to do, and come back the next day to repeat. Of course, there were some that overdosed right at that point. From personal experience, I can say that a lot of my friends that would time skip and binge the game as hard as they could would get a lot of new furniture and get a lot more done, if you can say that in Animal Crossing, but a lot of them also started to play less and less regular from there on. The game hadn't been out for all that long after all, and since all festivals were added in update form, even time skipping would only get you this far. However, after the game had been out for almost a month now, and while some people played less and less regular, as I mentioned, data mining really blew up. Some data miners really made me laugh and posted the most ridiculous things. Others should really hit the mark with predictions about Leaf and Drops coming back soon. So on April 23rd, I prepared myself for Nature Day with high expectations. The festival was focused on eco-friendliness, planting, and doing more nature-related activities. And this would go on for a couple of days, into May even, overlapping with May Day, an Animal Crossing holiday that really made me wanting more. From little mazes we had to solve, over the appearance of our old friend Rover that I had missed a lot thus far. But not only that, with a new update, Red made his return, and he didn't change all that much from how he used to be. But he's got a boat now though, and after all, alongside Red, our museum would also get a whole new expansion. Very fitting. Ultimately, with this huge appreciation, critics also got louder. So much so that even I could no longer overhear it, and they did mention some very valid points. The game, for me at least, was very close to perfect, but those little quality of life improvements would really lift the game up a lot. I wanted and still want to craft more than one item at a time. I want to make paths diagonal and cliff sides and rivers parallel, and not like, well, this. But most of all, I missed food items. I mean, look at the variety from Happy Home Designer. On the other hand, others wanted to save our data in a cloud for backup, more space for custom designs, and maybe most of all, we all wanted Brewster and some other small things and characters from the other games back. And I could totally agree on that. Of course, those complaints were on a very high standard. The game as it is and was would still be hyped, loved, and praised. And giving 90% at a project is one way to go, but I really want to see Nintendo go this extra mile. And you gotta be fair, we got the cloud saving feature later as an update, and also the maximum of custom designs that we can have were also expanded. So Nintendo is really supporting the game after all. With the next months, we entered the golden times for the Northern Hemisphere. Summer was there, and it has never been that easy to pay off your house. All the good fish would be in your reach, and of course, bugs as well. In June, we had a big update, including the comeback of our most favorite couple, Razy and Cyrus. A whole month, Razy and Cyrus would take some very extravagant wedding day pictures and also add some very romantic furniture. And as soon as you had taken a picture for them, you could come back to your island and collect some blue summer shells to get in real summer mood. However, summer had just begun and July brought a new feature that I wanted back for the longest time and I almost gave up on. One of the things I missed a lot in New Horizons was the swimming feature. It felt like it would make even more sense in New Horizons. However, it was introduced in New Leaf and didn't make its return yet, until now. I was super hyped and I started to play even more now, knowing that I had so much new stuff to explore now. The new mermaid DIYs and dresses you could get from Pascal made me redesign my whole island again and change my daily routine. And with such great news, many of my friends started playing again to get all the new secrets and DIYs. And while I had the sun burned down on me, while also being trapped inside my own home, in Animal Crossing the next surprise was already waiting. August brought Firework Festivals each week that we could custom create. How cool is that? And with loud noise, we said goodbye to the summer seasons and watched the grass grow more and more orange in September. Acorns and pine cones would start to grow on trees and make not only for great new furniture, but also for a new routine and a new hunt for resources. Acorns and pine cones were not as common as I thought they would be. It was not so easy to collect them, in my experience at least. I knew, however, that September could only be the warm-up, and it was. The real deal was October, with a lot of new features to add, new skin and eye colors, new emotions, including animations. Most importantly, you gotta get ready for Halloween. We could grow pumpkins. I really can't put it into words, but growing my own vegetables in Animal Crossing excited me a lot, and I went nuts over this. Did you too? Or was I the only one that was crazy over pumpkins? They were actually only a new material to craft spooky new items, but I really loved them so much, and I actually really like their aesthetic as well on the island, just like that. Halloween itself was nothing new, but that goes for pretty much all the festivals. I loved Halloween though. It was very close to how I imagined Halloween to be celebrated, since I myself never celebrated it in real life after all. In November, all those little mushrooms would grow all around our island, allowing us to once more craft seasoned furniture. I loved the mushroom season, not only because it was the month leading up to my birthday, but also because I love the furniture series. It has so magical vibes to it, and I absolutely love it. And while the leaves started to fade into reds before floating through the air, we celebrated Turkey Day. For me, the Turkey Day furniture is just cozy. I love the chair designs, and the fireplace was just oozing a cozy vibe that made me feel right at home. I will definitely redecorate my home in the near future to implement them better. In November, I considered my island done for the first time. Well, beaches aside, and I wasn't in the mood to redecorate yet. But I knew I want those babies. So I got them stacked in storage already. Just you wait. But oh, so soon, December would come along and turn the red leaves into a freezing bluish color, and snow would start to cover our islands. I always loved the snowy seasons in Animal Crossing. I just really love the sound of your footsteps on the snow. I fell in love with that sound in the very first game, and the sound was improved each game, and I shit you not, I was really moved by the sound in New Horizons when I first heard it. That probably makes no sense, but listen. Do you hear it? That is the sound of everything's gonna be okay, if I ever heard one. But you know what didn't? Yes, him, the perfect snowman. And with perfect, I mean perfect. He demands perfection, and I hate this little bitch so much for that. I can't put my fury into words. Like, just tell me what you want. What did I do wrong? Give me something to work with, you cold-hearted... Sorry? And with Toy Day coming up on December 24th, the nostalgic ride was only starting, and I loved it. In December, and thanks to amiibo cards, I had only residents on my aisle that I really loved, and Toy Day made them grow on me even more. I think it's impressive that dialogues repeated so little. When two characters of the same personality type tell you the exact same thing minutes after, it would ruin my immersion a lot. And I would always ask myself if it was like that in the older games too. But to my surprise, on Toy Day, it didn't happen when I ran around sharing my gifts. For me, that was a big positive surprise. But therefore, on New Year's Eve, they would repeat a few times. But it was New Year's. Aren't we all just saying the same thing anyway on New Year's? And so a new year started. In January, we hoped for a new beginning. But like a lot of new beginnings, this one did start slow and wouldn't bring too much news right away. It was in February, when Valentine's was at hand, that we got new items to collect and also new emotions. But not for Valentine's, no, for a carnival. Pave would teach us how to fulfill my heart's true passion, dance! Virtually, and not in real life, because that would be embarrassing. The new party furniture was so cool. Not really my thing, to be honest, but I liked them to be there, like available. I know I can do something with it, but I don't know yet. Besides, we all knew what the real hit was. Mario doing a crossover with Animal Crossing? Like, hell yeah, I want to dress up like Luigi. But I didn't even glue my fake mustache on. Another crossover was announced, almost in the same breath. Sanrio would once again visit Animal Crossing and bring new furniture, characters, and amiibo cards along. Well, actually, the amiibo cards did exist prior, but let's not talk about that too much. And soon, the snow started to melt, and spring announced itself with stunning greens yet again. So March, yet again, would hug us, just as smooth and warm as it could and did 1 year ago. And the cycle would complete itself with our first anniversary. And today is the day. How do you guys feel? Didn't the year just rush by? Not everything went as I thought it would. I still long for some quality of life updates, making crafting faster and ultimately better, shortening some dialogues when you repeat them. I didn't enjoy amiibo card prices at all this year, and I still want my food items and old characters back. But I'm getting used to it, and even though I don't think we will ever buy or craft multiple items at once in Animal Crossing, I think I came to terms with it. In the end, those are just little things in the face of a game so full with detail, beauty, and fun. Speaking of it, I can still recall how often my island changed faces. I reconstructed my whole island like 5 times before it reached its form that it has today. And let's be honest, it probably will change its face a couple of times in the future. With even more updates coming up in the future and the time passing, so much can happen. But one thing is for sure, we all grew into a wholesome, loving community that shares, trades, and dreams together. And I know I won't stop anytime soon. So I hope you all won't as well, and continue to make and create new stuff. With that said, I hope you have a great anniversary on your island and enjoy your hard work you've put into it with your favorite resident. I'd love to know who that is, by the way. And while you're at it, you can check out the description in my video to get info on clips and music I used, but also my dream address and creator code if you want to check it out. Thanks again for sticking around, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, have it good.
Now